What if there was a mine that generated over 10 billion tons of mine waste? What if there was a mine that destroyed the largest natural salmon run? What if there was a mine that would uproot 25 native tribes from their homeland? What if all of these things and more will happen if we don't take action? For over a decade, hundreds of thousands of people have fought to stop Pebble Mine from being built in Bristol Bay, Alaska. The creator of this proposed mine is Pebble Limited Partnership. Their goal is to create a gold and copper mine that will in turn destroy 94 miles of salmon streams, resulting in an upset of an ecosystem and a way of life. Pebble Mine has been a hot topic for years. It has warranted heated debates, prompted the creation of new bills, and even drawn the attention of former President Barack Obama. To find out more about Pebble Mine and how you can take action, join us for the following podcast, in which we explore the controversial issue.
By listening to the opinions and facts shared in the following interviews, I hope to reveal to people that although the mine has the potential to supply us with 55 billion pounds of copper, the consequences and destruction caused by the mine far outweigh its few positive attributes. Although it is hard to comprehend how extraordinary Bristol Bay is without visiting, imagine you are there, surrounded by streams filled with millions of salmon, as you listen to the voices of people who are informed and affected by the issue.
My name is Heidi Wild. I'm in Alaska because I absolutely love Alaska, and I'm a fishing guide, and I've been guiding out here for a little over 4 years.
My name is Tiara Turner, and I currently work in the hook and line cod fishery of Alaska. So basically I'm a fisheries manager and make sure we continue as a sustainable fishery.
Tom Douglas. I am a chef, restaurateur, author, all-around bon vivant.
My name is Jackie Carter, and I'm a research scientist with the Alaska Salmon Program at the University of Washington.
I'm Mark Titus. I'm a filmmaker here in Seattle.
Nancy Morris-Lyon. I run a sport fishing lodge, and I am the lead instructor for the Bristol Bay Guide and River Academy, where we teach students in this area, particularly to fly fish and guide guests from the area.
So why do these 6 people care so much about stopping Pebble Mine? Let's find out.
If there was a spill or something did happen and it decimated the salmon population, everyone out here would be affected by it. All the waterways are at some point connected, and all those sockeye, if they didn't come through here, we wouldn't have the life that we do out here. Those salmon are key to what makes Bristol Bay Bristol Bay.
There are 4 main reasons why Bristol Bay should be protected. The first reason Pebble Mine should never be constructed in Bristol Bay is because Bristol Bay is home to the world's largest sockeye salmon run. The proposed mine will be built at the headwaters of 2 of Bristol Bay's rivers, the Kvichak and the Nushagak River. If constructed, the mine would impede the spawning and life cycles of the more than 50 million salmon in the area.
Salmon would be affected by this mine both directly and indirectly. In addition to the large hole being dug in the ground at the headwaters of 2 of the most productive salmon-producing ecosystems in Bristol Bay, developers would have to build the infrastructure to support the mine. So this means building roads through salmon habitat, building housing, and building other transportation support to bring people and mining equipment in and get the mining products out.
It's tough. They want to make it the world's largest mine, and if you've done any research on previous mines, there's always an accident, and there can't not be an accident. I mean, it is man-made and accidents happen. I think it could really take away the beauty that is out here, and I mean, those sockeye that come through this system now are some of the very last in the world, and it would not only affect just Alaska, but it could also affect the whole Pacific Northwest, because it would get into the ocean ways.
I firmly believe that a mining district and a world-class fishery cannot coexist in the same place. Even if there wasn't a cataclysmic event like a breach of a dam that's holding toxic tailings from the dam, or from the mine rather, the day-to-day operation of a mine, the size and scope, Pebble Mine will cause detriment to all the salmon. It's just a matter of when.
The second reason a mine should not be constructed in Bristol Bay is because of Alaska's native culture. There are more than 25 Alaskan native tribes in the region that are dependent on salmon. If a mine were to be constructed, much of their culture would be lost because many natives rely on subsistence fishing for food and incorporate salmon into their art, song, and prayer.
The culture of Bristol Bay and the native community revolve around fish, and it always has and it always will. We don't have enough ungulates and sea mammals out here to allow a full subsistence lifestyle without the fish. You take the fish away, you're going to take away the culture and the heritage of everyone.
We can't eat gold. We can't eat minerals. Salmon's what thousands of generations of Native people have survived on, and salmon will continue to be a source for the future.
You'll see salmon in all the art in Alaska, Bristol Bay in particular. You'll see salmon in people's dances and songs and prayers and writing, and it simply would not be the same place. I don't think it would exist without salmon being at the center.
The third reason Bristol Bay must be protected is because of the abundance of American jobs that the bay supports. Bristol Bay's fishery is valued at $1.5 billion and supports over 14,000 jobs. These jobs include commercial fishermen, processors, lodge owners, guides, tourism operators, and more. Annually, Bristol Bay contributes $90 million to the state of Alaska through their recreation and tourism industries. Without pristine waters, salmon will not be able to survive in the rivers, which will eliminate many of the jobs Bristol Bay currently supports.
You know, I think what will end up happening at first, if the Pebble Mine should go through, would be there'll be an insurgence of people, because the mine itself will have to have people employed in order to run things smoothly. I think the fishing will go on for a while until something disastrous happens. And at that point, when there's no more fish and no more markets, the first people to go away are going to be your cannery folks, the people who buy the fish from the fishermen. So then the fishermen will have no reason to fish. So some of them will sell their boats, some of them will sell their set net sites, some of them will migrate down south to different fishing grounds or around Alaska to different fishing grounds. But eventually it'll become a ghost town out here. Very few people will remain.
Mining would bring in outside development and outside investors that don't necessarily have the best interest for Bristol Bay residents or lands as a priority.
The Bristol Bay commercial salmon fishery alone brings $1.5 billion to the American economy. It is the lifeblood of the region. Without wild salmon, there would be no Dillingham, there would be nothing. The proposed mine would bring upwards of 1,000 jobs for roughly 70 years. Is it worth the risk? Got this known entity, well over $1.5 billion every year. Do you risk that?
The fourth reason is that Bristol Bay is the wild salmon powerhouse, which is able to support a unique and pristine ecosystem. Currently, the area supports bears, otters, geese, beavers, puffins, eagles, and countless other animals. The mine would disrupt the animals' habitat through the construction of new roads and through the removal of trees and land. Plus, in the highly likely event that the mine's tailings fail, up to 10 million tons of mine waste, almost enough to bury the entire city of Seattle, will leak into the river system.
When you start looking at wild salmon and how they affect everything else in the ecosystems they return to, you come to realize very quickly that they are what we call a keystone species. That is, every other species around them would have significant problems if salmon were suddenly removed from the equation. So they feed all the terrestrial animals, bears, wolves, otters, minks, martins, big cats, you name it.
Salmon are the lifeblood of the Bristol Bay region. When sockeye and other salmon species return to freshwater to spawn, they bring with them a vast amount of nutrients from the sea. And when these salmon die and decompose, these nutrients feed the aquatic phytoplankton and the plants and trees on the riverbanks and the shorelines. Their flesh also feeds aquatic and terrestrial insects. Birds eat these insects. Fish that are important to the sport fishing industry eat these insects, as well as salmon eggs and flesh.
If it fails, it'll kill them. It'll kill them. It'll kill everything else, not just salmon, but the seals, the otters, the birds. It'll kill everything in its path. And that is not conjecture. That is science.
So now that you know how detrimental the mine would be, how can you help? There are many ways you can help stop Pebble Mine from becoming a reality. 1. Educate others. Tell your friends to read articles or listen to podcasts about the issue. Post about the issue on social media. It takes a lot of people to stop a mine, so the more people you tell, the better. 2. Attend rallies to voice your support against the mine and to hear other people's perspectives. 3. Send letters to your congressmen and women and to the head of the EPA. When people in power recognize that their constituents don't want this mine, they will help to fight it.
I think that there are 2 good ways to get involved with protesting this mine. First, vote with your fork. If you're buying fish at the market, ask where it's caught. If your fishmonger should know. And if he or she doesn't, don't buy it. If you're ordering salmon at a restaurant, ask where it was caught. Your server should know. And if they don't, or it's farmed, don't order it. And encourage them, the chef and the management, to put wild Bristol Bay sockeye on the menu or in their fish cases. It seems counterintuitive, to eat what you're trying to protect. But if it's clear that people want to purchase and consume wild Bristol Bay sockeye, there's much more incentive to protect that resource.
We're a small voice. We are tiny out here. There are very few people that live out here. We have less, in our 3 communities that make up the Bristol Bay Borough, we have less than 1,000 people total. So we have 1,000 voices, but the more people who can learn about it, the more people who care and decide to reach out and connect with congressmen and senators in their states, the more that they will hear it in Washington, and the more it will be heard.
Mining is a necessity in today's world. We use copper and other metals in almost everything. From car batteries to laptops, we are surrounded by minerals. Although our society does utilize copper, there are currently 27 active copper mines in the United States, which supply us with more than enough copper to meet our demands. So why would we needlessly construct another mine? The Pebble Mine issue comes down to one simple question. Do we wish to support a mine that will destroy an ecosystem that supports an economy, a way of life, and one which will harm our environment? Or do we wish to retain a one-of-a-kind national treasure for future generations? The answer should be obvious. The Pebble Mine is the wrong mine in the wrong place.